Hey guys, HuShang here. Welcome to another HuShang tutorials video. In this guide, we're going to be looking at one of the most powerful attacks you can be learning as a brand new Starcraft Protoss player. So this is a really powerful one base attack, and it's going to keep your plan pretty concise. It's fairly simple. We're just going to build a ton of units on one base, and then we're going to go wreck our opponent. So I'm skipping ahead here a little bit. We're going to jump back and go look at how to do this. But you'll see here that 3 minutes and 50 seconds, we already have 8 stalkers. So really fast. We have a ton of units. We're going to be warping in 4 more in just a second. So for 4 minutes, you have 12 units, which is, insanely fast. And a lot of people actually think this is not a good way to learn. I super disagree. This is probably the best thing you can be doing as a brand new player, because it's going to teach you a lot of the core mechanics you need to be learning to do some of the harder stuff. Okay, so here's the 4-gate attack. Super crazy. This can take you all the way to platinum pretty fast if you can perfect this. And it's pretty simple. It's only up to 4 minutes, but there's a lot of different parts I'm going to be showing you guys to do this efficiently. Okay, so let's jump back to the beginning. And let's take a look at how to do this. So we begin the game, we make our first probe. I'm going to play through this pretty slow so you guys can catch everything. So we begin the game, we start our first probe, and then you're going to be at 13 supply. This is going to be pretty important for following the build. So make sure whenever I say a number, you are looking at this left number. And this is my opponent. So you can just look at the green Protoss here and the left number of the supply. So our first building is going to be on 14 supply. So 14 out of 15. So you can see my probe goes over there. You'll also notice that I'm not skipping any probes. So no probes have been skipped. I just consistently made them the whole time. We're going to make another probe. I'm making a probe every time this Nexus progress bar is almost complete. So when this probe's almost done, I queue up another one, and that way there's no downtime in between them. Next thing we're going to be doing is grabbing a gate on 16. So I queued up another probe, going up to 16, and then I made my gateway. Just as a small note, because sometimes this trips people up, is this probe, the first one that's queued, counts towards your supply. So if I cancel this probe and there's none building on the Nexus, my supply will drop down to 15. But since I have one building, he's already counted in this supply. And if you build one more, he will not be counted until this one finishes. So just keep that in mind. That should help you up. It usually confuses people because this one counts and this one doesn't. It's kind of weird. But that's how it works. So we get the gateway on 16 and then we chrono boost. Okay, we're only going to use one chrono boost on probes. Most of our chrono boost with this build is going to go to our warp gate, which we'll talk about in a second. But that's going to make it so we can do this attack super fast. Okay, so next up we're going to grab our gas. You can see me rallying to the gas here. You don't need to do that. That's more advanced, but you can if you want it to work out really precisely. But as long as you get the gas on 17, and you don't have like 5 probes queued, you should be good. Okay, so you grab your gas on 17, and then the next gas is going to be 18. So you can see me queuing up another probe. This is going to put us to 18. We can make that gas. And then a lot of you are probably going to have questions why I'm sending this probe to the gas already. So basically the simple answer is, if you send this guy over here and you're not doing a lot of extra work, he will actually disrupt this mining and you'll probably lose money. So it's better to just have him wait by the gas, is the simple answer. Of course, there's a more complex answer, but we don't need to go over it. Okay, so we have another chrono boost. We could spend, but we're not going to. You're going to save it. And then the next building you're going to make is on 20 supply. You're going to get another gateway. So make probes up till 20 and then grab your gateway. Boom, grab that. Also, we're continuing to send our new probes to the gas. Make sure you're not skipping any. We never skip probes with this build. And then once this gas is full, you're going to rally to the other gas. And then you're just going to continue making probes so that one's full as well. At 21 supply or 20 supply, you're going to grab your cybernetics core. And then you can send that guy back to gas. And then on 22 supply, you can grab another pylon. So 21 if you're doing it really sharp, but 22 should be good as well. Okay, we're almost done filling these gases, just one more probe to make. As your cyber gets closer to finishing, we're gonna start some units, so that's coming up soon. You're gonna make one more probe past filling these gases. So if you look at our Nexus, we have 16 to 16, we have this base or these minerals fully saturated. We don't need any more. And we have this gas fully saturated. This gas is fully saturated. So we don't need any more probes for mining. But we're going to make one more. And we're going to send it across the map. And we're going to use that for a pylon later. You'll see that in a second. Okay. Now, from here, our cyber is finishing. We're going to start our first units. This is totally safe, by the way. There's no way you can get attacked before this. So you can start up 2 stalkers. We're going to be using stalkers for this attack. Stalkers aren't the strongest unit, but in the early game, they are pretty good before your opponent gets many upgrades. So if you're playing a longer game, you don't necessarily want to make a lot of stalkers, but early game, they're very strong. So let's grab 2 of those. And we started Warp Gate as well, which is going to allow us to make our units somewhere else on the map. So research that, and then you're also going to use a chrono boost on it, because we want this upgrade finishing as fast as possible. That's kind of the whole idea with this build, is get this finished as fast as we can, and then make units on their side of the map. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 2 more stalkers. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to make 2 stalkers. And one thing that, oops, let me turn off my Discord. One mistake that people make is they grab their next 2 gates too early. And this doesn't actually make the build any faster, so you don't want to be doing this. And the reason is you want to have these units finish, these stalkers finish, so that your opponent can't see what you're doing. Because if they just see 2 gates, it's not, you know, necessarily that you're doing a huge attack, but if they see these next 2 gates, then they know there's a big attack coming. So if there's a probe in here, just make sure these stalkers kill that probe first, or, you know, whatever unit your opponent's using to scout, make sure you kill that first, and then throw down these 2 gates. Okay, and then we're gonna start. Well, we already started these 2 more stalkers earlier, and now we get the gates. And then the next thing we're gonna do is make a pylon across the map. So this is the extra probe we made earlier. Once we had fully saturated this base, we made 1 extra one, and then we sent it across the map. And you're going to use that probe now to make a pylon. And don't make this pylon by your opponent's base. This is your opponent's base, main base. There's second base. Don't make the pylon like here, because if they use their units to move out, they're going to see it right away. So you want to put it off the path a little bit. So you can either put it over here, or you can put it over here, but just don't put it on the path where they're going to walk to your base, because they might accidentally find it. And this way they have to kind of go out of their way, which is not going to happen in Gold League or Platinum. Okay, so this is our second chrono boost on the warp gate. Make sure you're using your chrono boost on here as much as you can. And then there's not too much for us to do for the next couple minutes. We're just waiting for these to finish, so I'm going to fast forward. And then you should have 4 stalker. And your warp gate's about to complete. So when that completes, they're all going to transform into warp gates.
New technology.
And you're going to make your 4 stalkers across the map right here. So the easiest way to do this is to put these 4 gates on a control group. So I have some control groups on here. They're not necessarily the best actually, but put your 4 gates on a control group, and then that way you can use that control group to select the gates while you're across the map. So you should be able to warp in these 4 stalkers at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then you can move out with your initial 4 stalkers that you've made from the gateways, group up with these 4 stalkers, and then you can go for a huge attack. Again, it's only 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and we already have 8 stalkers, so really, really powerful attack. Should be able to crush everybody that's not a... I mean, even platinum, it can be crushing some platinum players. And maybe the diamond players start holding it, but this build can work pretty far up the ladder, and it's going to help you a lot learning the fundamentals. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this build, and I will see you in the next video.